From the clay to the pasta bowl, let's do this. To throw a pasta bowl, I try and get the clay centered. I use about 2.5 pounds of clay. It's quite a bit, but I'm going to trim off a lot of that. And what I want to do is get it centered and then kind of pulled out. And I stop usually when it's about 8 inches at about this point. And then I will compress the base. I didn't show you all the centering and initial pulling out because it's pretty basic stuff at that point. But I do compress the base using this wooden rib tool because I just find I can get a really nice flat bottom here. What I tend to do, because I like having a pasta bowl with a nice rounded bottom, is that I'm going to leave a little bit more clay here to support it so I can have nice thin edges, and then I'm going to trim off a little bit more to get that shape. So let's go ahead and pull up the sides here. And at this point I want it to be 9 inches, which it is exactly 9 inches. And then going this way, we want it to be, I like it about an inch and 3/4, which is where it's sitting right now. So all I'm going to do at this point is, again, compress the bottom just to make it nice and flat. I want to not, I sometimes make the bottoms too thin and then it cuts through when I'm wiring it off. But I also want to make sure that I have a nice rounded edge on the inside, because I am flattening it out quite a bit. I don't want to have too much of a ridge there. And I like the shape to be just like that. And again, this here right now looks not as rounded as I want, but what I'm going to do, I did that on purpose to make the edges really thin, and what I'm going to do is when I'm trimming it, I'm going to trim it off to compensate for that. But there we go, nice pasta bowl. And I found what was best to keep the sides really thin was to throw it a little bit thicker on the bottom and trim that off. And I know that's like not always the way I like to do it, but with this specific pasta bowl, it just worked that way. Had several that just didn't turn out to be quite the curve that I wanted until I started doing them this way. So I'll show you that when I throw it. You'll see that when I throw it, that I do throw it with a little bit thicker along here so that I can curve it down and really give it a nice finished curve that looks like that. Again, getting that while I'm throwing with such a thin wall, it just was collapsing a lot. And I don't have a heat gun or a torch to make that possible to do while I'm throwing, so I'll just do it in the trimming phase here. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to smooth out this side here using the pear tool. Get that nice and smoothed out. And then I'm actually going to do chattering along there. With this particular bowl set, I've been chattering. So I'm going to again use this tool for chattering. I know in my previous video I used this tool for chattering, and you can use just about any tool for chattering. The mud tool works a little bit differently, and I want to explain. When you're chattering with this tool, when you're using the rib here, you tend to hold it at this kind of an angle so that it goes through. And when you're chattering, you straighten it out to being a basically straight 90 degree onto there. With the mud tool, you're basically doing the same thing, only you start, when you're trimming, you're almost holding it at a 90. So when you're chattering, you turn it so that it's gouging into the direction of the spin. And with this one, I'm going to hold it pretty far out, probably holding it back here, and that way this whole section will start moving, and you'll just kind of go until it starts to bounce a little bit. You can kind of maybe hear it making that noise as it bounces a little bit. If you want bigger gouges, you go a little bit quicker. If you want smaller gouges, you go a little bit slower. Stop it and take a look. What do you think about that? That looks pretty good. I'm going to hit it again just a little bit down here. You can kind of see the bouncing of the tool there. Just want to make sure. There was a line that I had made there. I want to make sure to get rid of it. So a little bit deeper down there. I can still see remnants of that line. I'm going to get rid of it. Oh, there we go. I like that. Hope that video was helpful for you, showing you how to throw a pasta bowl, and then also giving you some tips on chattering using the mud tool. I know I've done chattering with a rib tool in the past, but this is doing it with a different tool. It gives a different pattern and a nice look. I hope you enjoyed that video and it was fun for you. Stay healthy, stay safe, and we'll see you next time. Have a wonderful day.